Last night on Smackdown, Nick Aldis revealed the brand new United States Women's Championship. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it right here at WrestleManiac UK. What's up, people? It's your boy Max, the WrestleManiac, if you will, back again with another podcast. I hope you guys are well. We have had a eventful week of wrestling, capped off by, a lot of stuff around the bloodline. Obviously, coming out of Crown Jewel last weekend, but coming into this weekend, I guess to kick us off for this weekend, we had the news about this new women's title, the United States title, that will be for, I guess, the women. Is it of just the women of SmackDown, the women of Raw? We don't know yet. We don't know yet. We're still to kind of work that one out, find that one out. But I'm looking forward to this. So I appreciate everyone that's joining live. Big up Hanafi, I can see in the chat. But yeah, we're going to just have a chat maybe for about half an hour. A nice little tight half an hour podcast. Get my opinions on it. Get the opinions of some of you guys that have either voted in the community post. Thank you for those that have, or sent me your thoughts on Instagram, WrestleManiac.uk on Instagram. So yeah, we're gonna have a chit chat, a chin wag about the United States Championship. Now, before we get into the whole stuff about the title and obviously where the conversation will probably go, I would say straight off the bat, this should have been in the ring. This should have been an announcement that happens in the ring that we make a big deal, a big palaver about. I don't know if you guys remember back to when Triple H took charge and he almost, wanted to re-image the Intercontinental title. We had those vignettes of the Intercontinental champions of old, and some of the great names that have held it, from Perfect to Bret Hart to Shawn Michaels, The Rock, Triple H himself, to the recent days of people that have held that title. I really think we should have got the pageantry of all that. And granted that, yes, this is a brand new title, so we wouldn't have had the lineage to show. But I think we should have really kind of put together a nice vignette of the women working hard and doing all of that kind of stuff. Go USA and all of that kind of stuff. And it's kind of funny, even now that I say it, that they launched this during the week of, the election results. Some may say controversial election results, but yeah, that's when they chose to launch it. So it is what it is, I guess. But yeah, I think they played it down. What Nick Aldis did in terms of the way it was, okay, guys, this is the title. Women are working hard. We're rewarding them, giving them something else to fight for, etc., etc., etc. I think that was all cool. It was all nice. It was well done. It was tight. It was well shot. It was well lit. The title looks great, which we'll get onto soon. But I just feel like you should have made a bit more of a big deal about this. I mean, they made a big deal about the Crown Jewel title. They made a big deal about the Crown Jewel title, which we're never going to see until next year. And to be honest, I'll be surprised how long they carry on this Crown Jewel thing. They may just drop it dead in a year or two, to be honest. You might get it again next year, and the year after that, we may not see it again. Anyway, the Women's United States title. I mean, first off, from a reaction point of view, this is what the fans have been asking for. The fans have wanted a women's mid-card title. Was it going to come in the shape of the United States title. I don't think many had predicted that. Myself and others had kind of speculated, especially over the last few weeks. There's been an AI design going around of the Netflix title, and people thought, okay, maybe we get a Netflix championship that the women will use as like a TV championship, a mid card kind of thing. But apparently not. It's the United States title, which I think it's cool to a degree. I think especially because it's something that the men also go after. There's a men's United States title, so it basically kind of shows that whatever they can do, we can do, sort of thing. We don't need to kind of you know dim our light, go for another named championship, which might seem lesser than. No, if the men have a United States championship, the women can have a United States championship. So I'm actually cool with it kind of having the same name. Um, and yeah, I guess it's going to form that kind of mid card belt. And we've already seen, a lot of people reacting and kind of putting their names in the hat of who's going to win it, who's going to win that championship first. And again, we will talk names, so stick around because we are going to talk names of people that are, I guess, good picks, good fits for the inaugural champion anyway. After that, the floodgates are open. But I did see a tweet from Mia Chim saying that, she's never won a title in WWE. Never won a title. Not one. Not one. Like, now this opportunity is here to become the mid-card champion, if you like, or the United States champion for the women. Like, I think it's great. Like, I'm really happy that these women are working so hard that they feel like this is a necessary thing. Obviously, we'll talk about NXT and obviously what's happening there with the women, because that's a fantastic division that they've got there, which will, of course, the plan is to funnel those talents through to the main roster. We don't want to we don't want an NXT black and gold situation where all of a sudden talents can't move up, someone at the top don't like them, they will get swept up by another company. We don't want to be in that situation at all. So yeah, it's they had to create this, really and truly. They kind of had to create it. Now, from a design point of view, very simple. Like I say, there's a men's United States Championship, like they are doing. I mean, this is one thing I'll say. When it comes to belt designs, WWE, I would say, are very safe. I would say somewhat safe, bordering boring, but more so very safe. I don't think there's a title in WWE that I don't like. Even the ones that people make fun of with the big, W on the front of the championship. Personally, I don't mind it. But like, yeah, they're very safe with their title designs. Like they've been doing, whatever the men have design wise, they tend to just replicate for the women. The only kind of, what's the word? Authentic, its own belts are like the NXT ones, all have their own kind of unique designs, and the WWE women's tag titles. Everything else is like copy and paste for men and women, copy and paste for men and women. So yeah, from a design wise, a lot of us have been happy with that United States Championship design since they changed it around the pandemic times, I think. So I'm quite happy with it. They put it on a white strap like they tend to do with the women's belts. Also looks very cool, very cute. I'm tempted to say very demure, but yeah, it looks very cute. Obviously, it's sized down as well because the men's one's quite large. I think the title looks nice. I really do think it looks nice. If I had to give it like out of 10, I would say solid 7.5. It's a really nice looking title. But again, nothing that we are not already kind of familiar with, because it's very similar to what the men have. Now, getting on to, I guess, the one topic that people will say, like we've always all said with AEW, there are too many titles, there are too many belts. With the women now, the women have a women's world championship, They have a WWE Championship. Those are the two top titles. They now have the Women's United States Championship. Lower down the card, they've got the women's tag titles. And then if you go into NXT, you know, they've got an NXT women's title. They've got a women's North American title as well. Too many belts. Some people have said, yeah, that they should have got rid of the tag titles, the women's tag titles, to do this. I don't think I agree with that. I think those tag titles have a purpose to serve, albeit they tend not to serve their purpose unless the people holding the title are supremely over insane talents. You know, we saw or currently see Bianca and Jade with those titles, and those titles get a lot of airtime, and the champions get a lot of airtime. Previously, you know, I'm talking way back now, Sasha Banks and a Naomi, again, because of who the titles were on, the titles got some time. Sasha Banks and Bailey, again, you know. So when it falls to the talents that probably need it and need that booking the most, people like the Iconics, people like Damage Control, people like Caden and Casey or whatever their names are, you know, the likes of the Unholy Union. The people that need those titles don't tend to get the airtime, so it makes those tag titles feel a bit funny. You see what I mean? But what I think the play should be, and this is going to lead into the next part of this particular point, maybe make those tag titles once again a permanent fixture on the NXT brand, because those women on that brand, or should I say, there is just enough women on that brand. There is just enough women on that brand to make sure that, you know, they kept busy. And I trust NXT to keep those women's tag titles busy. Unlike anywhere else, where it, like I'm saying, it's very dependent on who is the champion to how much we see those titles. With NXT, they would keep those tag titles busy. They have a lot of women coming through. There are so many women in their ranks there. So I think we could probably send the tag titles down there potentially. Or, you know, these shows are going to become 3 hours again in the new year. So one show, Raw or SmackDown, for the sake of argument, let's say Raw right now, can have the women's tag team titles. And then SmackDown can have the Women's United States Championship as their mid-card title. So there's ways around it. It can be done. However, the speculation today has been like, wow, okay, nothing was actually said by Nick Aldis in that promo that this title, the Women's United States title, will float between brands, which it should, by the way. It absolutely should. It absolutely should float between two brands. Let's do that to see if there's demand and it's booked well enough before we start adding more titles. But as I was going to say, the talk today has been, right, you went and put a United States title on SmackDown, and everyone is kind of expecting a Women's Intercontinental Championship to be unveiled on Raw on Monday. A Women's Intercontinental Championship to be unveiled on Raw on Monday, to be the parallel for the SmackDown Women's United States Championship. That, my friends, I would say would be too much. For me, that would be a step too far. We do not need two women's mid-card titles and a tag championship at this current point. Now, if they are doing this in preparation for Raw, SmackDown becoming 3 hours in the new year, I'll hear it a bit more. But they have to book it, and they have to book it right. It has to be done properly. This is the thing. And will they do it properly is the fear. Now, with these titles, do they have the roster for it, the size of the roster for it? I think I saw something, and please don't quote me on this, but I think I saw something today that said there's about 35 women on the active roster currently. Could argue it's enough. I mean, they recently got rid of an Indy Hartwell and a Tegan Knox, who could have easily slipped into these divisions, whether it be a tag team division. Indy was in a tag team with Candice, or a Tegan Knox who could be a challenger, a young pretender to a United States championship. They've recently got rid of two talents there. And the flip side, they have an abundance of female talents in NXT ready to come up and make a splash, make a real impact. They've got and all of these names as well that have recently signed and joined the Zarias, Stephanie Vaquer, Julia, Jordan Grace, who I think we all know is signing really, really soon. Out of those four women that have all quote unquote roughly come in around the same time, around the same period, right now, Stephanie Vaquer will be a champion 100%. Will be an NXT Women's Champion 100%. Zaria, I think she could be a good North American Women's Champion. I think the likes of Jordan Grace, especially, may kind of be in NXT initially because that's where they've introduced her on screen to us. And then she pretty much bypasses NXT and heads to the main roster. I don't think she may not even sniff any title in NXT. Julia, potentially, that would be more so to keep her there just to develop things like maybe TV readiness, language barriers, etc., etc. Julia may be a champion of one of those two divisions, but yeah, there's a pipeline. Regardless, Roxanne will be a main roster talent next year. I'm pretty sure of that. Cora Jade may even be a main roster talent next year. She's had a lot of injuries. She's probably missed her boat in terms of winning titles down in NXT, but she's ready to go. So they could probably put her on the main roster. So there's talent. As even as like I say, they got rid of Indy, they got rid of Tegan. They've got talents. They've got people that can come in and go, and then you got the next wave of people. You got the Sol Rukas that haven't even sniffed anything yet in NXT. One of the best female wrestlers in NXT. Kalani Jordan, who's just come off a North American title run. Fallon Henley, who's a current NXT North American Women's Champion. They've got people. They have got it stacked. So this is also creates like a nice little pipeline for them, for the women that can see, right, we won't just be here going after two titles on that main roster. There's another singles title now. At least for now, there's at least one other. Like I said, rumors are swirling that you could see an Intercontinental Women's title come Monday. But yeah, they've got the pipeline for it. So yeah, I just wouldn't want them to kind of bring an IC title in for the women right now, as in Monday, without the kind of proof of concept that they can book the United States one pretty well, as well as remaining to book the tag team titles very well. Because let's be honest, Rhea Ripley got injured and the women's world title picture has fallen apart. Liv Morgan's there. They've basically pulled Io Sky out of her tag team to become the number one contender for Liv's title. Probably won't win, but we need to be booking what we have better before we start creating new titles, because really and truly creating new titles creates new challenges, it creates new problems, so yeah, we've got to do better with what we have before we kind of rush for more. Obviously this is now another mid-card title compared to another big product we watch in AEW. They've got the TBS belt on there. So yeah, that'll be a very kind of interesting, comparable once the United States Championship gets up and running. What does it look like next to the TBS title on AEW? But I'm sure this is the part that everyone came for. It's time to speculate as to who could be the inaugural WWE Women's United States Champion. Now, I've thought about this long and hard. It's not that difficult as to, kind of put together a short list, I don't think, because for me, it has to be a certain kind of talent. If we are going to crown this champion, let's say by the end of this month, November, there's a Survivor Series this month, right? If we're going to crown this person, this new champion by the end of this month, well, right now, looking at the lay of the land, we have two heel singles champions in terms of Nia Jax, the WWE Women's Champion, heel, and Liv Morgan, the Women's World Champion, also a heel. So already I'm tilting towards a baby face as the United States champion. Maybe someone that can be pretty playful with this, dress up in red, white, and blue and all of that kind of stuff and embrace that side of it a bit more. And to be honest, I know a lot of names that people have mentioned, and I'm going to mention, like I said earlier, names of that you guys have left for me. Some were left on my Instagram, WrestleManiac.uk, so I appreciate that. We'll check out the community poll and see, who's winning the community poll and stuff like that. And of course, those of you that are watching live right now, put some names in the comments as to think will be the inaugural champions. But I'll get us started. I've got 4 names right now, right? I've got 4 names. My first pick, and it's funny, this was my pick about 3 weeks ago. I was doing my bit on Gorilla Position, and we were talking about a women's mid-card title. And I said, no matter what the title is they bring in, for me, this person should be a number 1, like first ballot pick as an inaugural champion. And that is Naomi. Naomi is somebody that has been out the company, found success in TNA, returned to the company. They know her popularity level, but they can never seem to book her right. They can never seem to give her a prominent position in WWE. And there probably is a bit of a gulf as to, just because you can be a TNA women's champion, it doesn't mean you can be a WWE women's champion. But Naomi can be a WWE women's champion. So in my opinion, she's overqualified to be a women's United States champion. Someone with the tenure, how long she's been in the WWE. I would slap this title on her ASAP. And then all of a sudden, again, if we're talking, this is all happening in the month of November, meaning you've got the United States champion in Naomi, and then you've got the women's tag champions in Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. I think Naomi for me is like front runner. If I had to kind of put my picks in order, I would say Naomi. I would probably do that. I would probably do that ASAP. Another name I'm going to throw into this hat. Again, I'm looking at face characters, baby faces. I'm looking at experienced, long-standing people that can kind of set the title off in a really strong fashion, almost how Seth Rollins started off with the new iteration of the World Heavyweight title a couple years ago. Now, my second pick, my face is doing up something because I know it's not going to be a favorite pick for everyone, but I'm thinking with their cap on, and I'm thinking Natalya Neidhart, someone that's recently kind of re-signed to the company, a reliable hand. And I know that is a term that is often kind of frowned upon in this sport, but I think Natalya could be a very good first champion, help establish the belt with just fantastic wrestling matches before eventually putting somebody over. Is there a bit of a conflict that we're making a Canadian the first ever United States champion? Maybe people might have something to say, but I'm thinking of someone safe, someone that can put on some really strong matches, really establish this title as, at least for now, the workhorse title in inverted commas, and someone that can easily put somebody over, and it could be the next big heel sort of thing. Like, I would love a situation where Natalia goes through a couple of talents, all respectful, looks good, blah, blah, blah. And then maybe a Shayna Baszler beats Natalia for the United States Championship and really starts, a Shayna Baszler-esque run for those of us that watched her in NXT. I still want something like that for Shayna. But yeah, I think Natalia could be a great option here as an inaugural champion. Another name I'll throw out there as an inaugural champion, Bayley. I think Bayley is great. I think she's selfless. I think she's another one that probably fits a bit into the Natalia thing of she can be just a good foil for others, put on good matches without needing story. Her recent women's title run, WWE women's title run, was a bust for me personally. I don't think she done anything particularly. I don't think they booked her. I just don't think they really booked her or cared about her. And it just led to a bit of a lackluster run. Funny for me, as big as Bayley is, she's never really come across as a women's champion. I think, no, tell a lie. During the pandemic, when she had the run with Sasha Banks and they both had the Raw and SmackDown women's titles and the tag titles, they were excellent together. I just think those two are each other's soulmates. And I genuinely think they can't operate without each other. Like, I think both are struggling now on their respective shows because they need each other. That's the way I see it. But I think Bayley could be someone that's great for the mid card, put on some really good stuff, especially where they try to establish a brand new championship. So I think Bayley is also a very reasonable, sensible choice. And my fourth choice is none other than Io Sky. Io Sky is fantastic. I'm recently dubbing her and Bianca Belair as aliens of WWE. Like, Io Sky is fantastic, man. And like I said earlier, she's been plucked out of the women's tag division with Kyrie, Damage Control, to kind of do some single stuff because we need someone. We had to smash a glass in case of emergency because Rhea Ripley got injured. So Io Sky is now doing single stuff. I'll say that much. She's still in the tag team, but she's doing single stuff. She could win this title. Now, obviously, that could be very dependent on, is this for both brands? Because obviously she's a Raw superstar, if I'm correct. Although, again, a women's tag team competitor can go on both shows. So I think Io Sky would be a shout. And like I said, all of my shouts, it's not necessarily who I would pick. Naomi. I would definitely pick Naomi as one of my, yes, that's my pick. Mex with chest. That is my pick. But some of the others are more so what they would do in the first instance to help establish the championship, as opposed to my favorite picks, if you see what I mean. So yeah, those are some names that I have kind of thought of that could very much be the inaugural champions. I'm going to kind of throw a spanner in the works and talk about some other names that could possibly float around with this. And funny enough, none of these guys are on TV. None of these women are on TV, should I say. But I don't think they can be discounted. Those names are Carmella, Charlotte Flair, and Alexa Bliss. Like I said, none are currently on TV. Carmella, I don't even know the last time we saw her, but obviously she went off, she had a baby. So she could be getting ready to come back anytime, and it's just being kept on the super down low. Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss, both on kind of long-term off injuries involved and stuff like that. Charlotte Flair, we know she is working towards a return. And Alexa Bliss, I think she started training recently. There were some images of her training towards a return as well. So, these ladies, there's options, and these are three, relatively big names that can come in and just kind of, upset people if they became the inaugural champions. Let's be completely honest. Another name of that ilk I'll throw in, just because it came up, less than 24 hours ago, is Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch apparently is in discussions to resign with the WWE. Now, this is from a story from WrestleVotes, where basically I can't remember the name of the company now, but they're looking to license Becky Lynch's name to do some products and things of that nature. WWE still have ownership of that Becky Lynch name. So the assumption is if they're going to do that, then Becky Lynch will soon return to TV to help maybe push the products and stuff like that. And it's Becky Lynch, it's Stone Cold, it's Roman Reigns, it's names of that ilk that they're sorting out this deal with. So like I said, as per WrestleVotes, Becky Lynch could soon be returning to WWE TV. Another person that they can make inaugural champion pretty easily, and everyone will probably get on board with it. So, yeah, those are some of the names. Like I said, I've got my number one, who I think will be Naomi, then some other names, and then there's these outside ones of people that aren't even in the company right now that could, come through and rattle the cage, as it were, to possibly become this first ever women's United States champion. But I'm here, I'm in my Instagram. Big up everyone that hit me a mention to kind of talk about who it is. And I'm reading these for the first time. So I'm going to try and go through some names as well as who their predictions were. These are all predictions for who the first champion should be. James Pugh said Candice. Hassan said Jade Cargill. Wolfie said Naomi or Io Sky. We're on the same wavelength. Darren said Mia Yim, a very interesting name that I know is going to come up quite a few times. We've got Naomi again. We've got Instagram says Chelsea Green. Chelsea Green, another one from Oriodan. Gabe the Kid, Graps with Gabe, says Meechin. David Robson says feel like Naomi, but would prefer Chelsea. So we're all in the same kind of ballpark when it comes to the names of who we think it could be. Yeah, it makes sense. I think those names that we're all kind of saying make total sense. And let's just have a look at the community poll that I put out earlier. Naomi is currently winning by a landslide. 86% Naomi. The community have talked. The community have spoken. We're seemingly all on the same page that Naomi would be that. And I think it's that imagery as well, the big three. Naomi's got an upcoming WWE Women's title match next week against Nia Jax. I would love Naomi to win that, to be honest. Nothing against Nia Jax. Because to be honest, you know what I thought was going to happen? I thought Naomi pins Nia Jax, and then Tiffany Stratton cashes in, pins Naomi, and becomes the women's champion. That's what I thought was going to happen for the past month. So we'll see next weekend if that's the case. But yeah, I think we're all pretty much on the wave of Naomi. Seems to be the front runner for many people. Just going through some of you guys' comments here in the chat. Big up everyone that has tuned in live. Byron Cutler says Candice LeRae. Okay, yeah, another name that we've mentioned as well. Anafi mentioned that he was also expecting a vignette to build, the United States Championship. Again, I understand there's no lineage right now, but you could have just used any other imagery of the people of the United States, and some historical things and women that have broken barriers in the United States as imagery to sell this. They've opted not to. Byron Cutler has also said Kairi Sane. Kairi Sane, I think, is a good outside shout. I don't think inaugural, but she's there. She's definitely a potential shout. Who else has he mentioned? Byron Cutler's been going for it. Candice LeRae, Mia Yim, Chelsea Green, Blair Davenport. Okay. No one else has mentioned Blair Davenport. That's a potential name. Big up Jimmy. He says Naomi for legitimacy, Mia for reward of hard work, Chelsea for how fun she'll be. That's a good point. That's a good place to put it. And this is the way I kind of designed my answer, if you like. That first person has to be for legitimacy. I don't think there's other two ways about it. There's one thing you could do. You can kind of give it to someone, one name that no one's mentioned here, including myself, It's Tiffany Stratton. She's got a whole briefcase that she could cash in. So any one of these are favorites, and Mia Yim can come and win the title, be the inaugural champion, and within that same match segment, whatever you want to call it, you may just see Tiffany Stratton cash in. It's possible. It's possible. Jimmy also agrees with the shout of Candice LeRae. Queen Graves, big up Queen Graves. She says, the selfish fan in me wants Bianca Belair to be the women's United States champion, even with the tag team title. How greedy. How greedy. I think Bianca Belair would be, of course, a fantastic choice just because of, again, that whole point around legitimacy. However, if Bianca Belair won that title with the tag team titles, I think the chance of her being John Cena or the female John Cena have recently died down. They will definitely come back. They would definitely come back if she was holding the new United States Championship with a tag team title. Bianca Belair will be being shouted at by people. I'm sure of it. So, yeah, I'm not too sure if that would be the smartest move for her. Jimmy says, I think Byron means Kyrie will get Raw's one, as in they'll make one in the future for Raw and Kyrie will win it. That's a possibility. Like I said, as of Monday, I think everyone's going to be sitting on the edge of their seats, waiting to see, hey, are they going to introduce a women's intercontinental title? And then we'll really have some direction over, is it 2 mid-card belts and a tag team title, or will it be just a 1 mid-card singles title in the US title for the women and then the tag team title as well? It'll be very interesting to see. Big up Lino, private investor. Lino with the super chat. Without the chat, at least give me a question for your donation, man. I appreciate it. Thank you. Jimmy says, I love Bianca, but who on earth is going to smoke her to win the title? She'll be stacking Chelsea, Mia Yim, and Naomi in one match. This is the thing. Bianca Belair, like I called her earlier on this stream, her and Io Sky right now, they're aliens. They're of a different breed, especially when they're in the ring together. Them two are just different. Io Sky, I would understand if they made her the inaugural champion. Bianca Belair, they're making a run for their back. I wouldn't do it just because of the backlash she could potentially bring, especially while she's still the tag team champion. So yeah, but look, we're all banding around the same names. It's something that I feel like we're all on the same page about. Lino says whoever does beat Bianca, their stock will go up 100%. 100%. But I think it's the rough period. Unless you turn Bianca and Jade heels. You turn them heels, and then it almost plays into what Liv Morgan said, that you guys are trying to one up each other and see who's the best, this, that, and the other. If they're still tag team champions and they're heels, and then Bianca wins the United States Championship and it makes Jade jealous, then maybe Jade strikes on Bianca or something like that. Like, I don't know, but I think you could do that with other people. Like, I think more so it's the second champion who I'm really going to sit up and pay attention to. Does this person have the minerals? Because the first one, like I said, my picks just for legitimacy would be a Naomi, a Bailey, an Io Sky, a Natalia. But it's the second person. It's whoever beats the inaugural champion. That's the one that we're all going to have our eyes on and really watching. Is this person good enough? Because now we're in the realm you would think of giving the title to, the Mia Yims and the Candice LeRae's, like everyone's mentioning. These people that have worked hard and deserved the opportunity, the Chelsea Greens and stuff like that. So, yeah. We're going to see. We're going to find out. But, all in all, it's fantastic for the women. I'm very happy that, again, we're in a day and age where we are kind of pushing women's wrestling to the next level. There's opportunity for titles and stuff like that, mid-card titles. And yeah, it's looking good. We saw Mercedes Monet mentioned during the week. I dropped a post on it on my Instagram, WrestleManiac.uk, that she thinks AEW should have an all women's show. I think that's probably, I don't want to say the next step. I mean, we should at least get an all women's pay per view again before we commit to doing a weekly show for women. But with all that being said, we're moving in the right direction for all of these things, and I'm very happy for that. I'm a big advocate for women's wrestling. Absolutely love it. So yeah, it's just one of them things where I think we gotta slowly creep towards those goals of women's pay-per-views and all women's shows and stuff like that. We're not too far away from it. We just have to be consistent, like I said earlier, with what we have before we start dreaming of all of these other eventualities and stuff. Last few comments. Jimmy says, would anyone be against Charlotte Flair? I would be against Charlotte Flair. I would be against Charlotte Flair, but I'm not against her beating somebody for it. But being the inaugural champion, yeah, again, it's like with the Bianca stuff. You're just going to create a noise for what reason, sort of thing. Like, imagine a situation where somewhere down the line, Charlotte has returned, helps Andrade become the men's United States champion, and then she wins the women's one, and they're doing couple goals, twinning with the titles and stuff like that. A kind of power run together. I would like that. I would really like that. But yeah, I'm not against Charlotte Flair winning the title, just not the first champion, in my opinion. Jimmy says, in fact, I want Charlotte in the final, but losing to Naomi. Reparations. Brand says, keep Charlotte away, which I'm sure will be the same opinion shared by many. Big up Curvin. He says, people said AEW have too many champions. Please, WWE have too many titles. So I would say in WWE are definitely getting to that stage, 100%. But I think the difference is, in my opinion, like, I'm someone that watches both products and loves both products. In my opinion, AEW's issue is having a TNT title, a continental title, an intercontinental, or what they call it, international title. And obviously at the time they had this FTW championship, which they were using as a bit of a mid-card belt as well. So that's 4 belts that occupy the same division, the same people. That was the issue. These other belts that AEW have, I don't, complain about them. My other issue is that they bring Ring of Honor TV belts onto AEW TV, where we already have, like we're saying, 3-4 titles in that same space. So that's more so my personal issue. I can't speak for everyone, Curvin, but for me, AEW have about 3 belts. Well, they got rid of the FTW one, so 3 belts right now that occupy the exact same place, and they don't have a brand split. So they're all on the exact same show. That's my issue personally. But WWE do have a lot of belts, I think, but they're right now they got a brand split, and it's, you have to go to certain shows to see certain belts. Ideally, I know that the brand split is loose and stuff, but yeah. Jimmy says, nah, it's true. To be honest, Charlotte has bad optics around her name. 100%. 100%. That's the only reason I wouldn't do it. Curvin says WWE already has women's mid-card title. Don't forget the Speed Women's Championship. Well, let's be honest. Like, you can call it mid-card. It's not even on TV. The champion comes out to wrestle a match and they don't even bring the title with them. That title has nothing to do with WWE programming, apart from them mentioning in name, oh, Candice LeRae or whomsoever is the men's Speed champion. You don't see it on TV. So I don't think we can try to use this as a means to say it's already a mid-card title. Kervin says we want women's intercontinental champion. Everybody needs a champion. Okay, I think Kervin's unhappy that there's a lot of belts here now. Like I said, I personally don't want a women's intercontinental championship. If they come out and say on Monday this is what's happening for Raw's women, I would think, okay, this is too much now. Let's make sure the United States Championship works as a concept for the women before we do intercontinental title for the women. That's what I would say. Jimmy agrees with me. He says, I don't think Speed counts in real life. It doesn't. It only counts on Twitter. It really doesn't count anywhere else. And Trey says, unify the male tag team belts just like the women's. This I can get on board with 100%. 100% agree with Trey. They need to just literally combine those two titles because, yeah, man, this doesn't make any sense. The Raw division, it looks like they'll probably crown the War Raiders new champions, but that title's basically been inactive for the best part of 2 to 3 months now. Unify it. Just unify it, and you got a better all-around division. That's what I think. But yeah, guys, appreciate you guys joining me. All about the Women's United States Championship today. Again, any additional comments, let me know down below. If you're watching this on the replay, let me know in the comments below who you think should be the inaugural United States champion for the women. The belt's here. The fans have complained enough for it. The belt has arrived. Who should be the first winner? We'll chat about this more as we kind of understand the direction of where the championship is going to go. But yeah, like I said, guys, I appreciate you guys joining me today. You can get the audio version of this on WrestleManiac UK on all your podcast platforms. Make sure you're subscribed and hit the bell notification so you can check out the community post. And if you haven't, go and vote in the community post as to who you think the inaugural champion will be. And of course, you can hit me up on X, hit me up on Instagram as well, WrestleManiac UK, to join in on the polls, the hot takes, all of that kind of stuff. Guys, I'll catch you in the next one. WrestleManiac UK signing out, and I'll see you soon.